People often speculate on what makes Elon Musk different from almost every other leader the world has ever known. My personal answer is that Elon Musk's superpower is to have a long term vision and to be able to focus on that for an obscenely long amount of time. Let's take a look. Hey y'all, it's Dr. Know-It-All. This video was inspired by this tweet that Stephen Mark Ryan posted last night, and especially Elon Musk's response to it. Stephen Mark Ryan, referring to the 2006 Master Plan Part 1 that Tesla, specifically Elon Musk, released back in 2006, says, "Not sure what parts of drive down market as fast as possible and drive down the costs as fast as possible people do not understand. Tesla will keep driving costs lower, passing cost savings on to consumers and selling more vehicles. They told us this in 2006. And what Stephen Mark Ryan is referring to here, if you don't happen to know, is the fact that Tesla keeps reducing the prices of their vehicles. And of course, many people in the media are freaking out and saying this proves that there's no demand and that therefore Tesla is failing and other car companies and such will catch up with them. But what Stephen Mark Ryan is countering with is that, this has been part of Tesla's master plan since 2006, and that building a mass market vehicle, which you can still argue is not the case today, Model 3s now effectively in the United States are $35,000 for about the next week or so. And if you haven't seen that episode, you should definitely check it out. But anyway, $35,000 is still, in the expensive-ish category, and certainly the Model Y and the other ones. The average selling price of a Tesla is somewhere around $50,000 right now, which is not in the mass market by any means. So clearly the next step along this road is the Model 2 or whatever Tesla is going to call it. They're probably never going to tell us the name of this stupid vehicle. It would be nice, even if they're not going to show us pictures of it, it'd be nice if they would give it a name so that we could actually say like, okay, this is what it's called. But anyway, whatever this next generation vehicle is that's going to be produced in Mexico, Berlin, and Shanghai, that is going to finally fulfill the Master Plan Part 2-ish. Master Plan Part 1 was really fulfilled by the Tesla Model 3 and Model Y that came out. But, the real ultimate goal of Tesla is to create a vehicle that is in the $25,000 to $30,000 range now, inflation adjusted. And of course, Elon Musk's response to this is very short, as always. He says, long-term thinking will be rewarded. And what he's talking about here is, this vision actually was something that Elon Musk had as a very young person, long before he had anything to do with Tesla, which came about in the early 2000s. But this vision was to transition the world from internal combustion engine vehicles, which overall are incredibly wasteful. They have well-to-wheel efficiency of somewhere around 30%-ish in that range, whereas well-to-wheel efficiency for electric vehicles, especially if you have clean energy sources, can be upwards of 65 to 70%. And of course, if you combine that with Tesla's other businesses of generating and storing power, from solar panels and through batteries, you're looking at an entire energy ecosystem that Tesla is looking at creating. This is an incredibly long-term vision, and this is very, very different from other CEOs of other companies. And sadly enough, I was talking to people about this the other day in relation to the San Francisco debacle that's going on. And that is that you've got people in government, and Elon Musk says that government is business in the limit. In other words, taken to the extreme size. That is the place where long-term thinking should be happening, because you don't have to think quarter by quarter. But even governments are only thinking about the next election cycle and things. So they're only thinking in little blocks of like 2 to 4 years or something. And they're never really planning things out and focusing on that. And you can see that in the disastrous nature of things like the space program that just completely fell apart after the 1960s. And yeah, it's still going on, but I mean, we could easily be on Mars now if the impetus had remained. And if you go back and study history, really, sadly enough, the only reason that we probably got to the moon was because John F. Kennedy was shot and became a martyr. And that created enough willpower to actually project us to the moon. But that wouldn't probably have even happened if the tragedy of JFK's shooting hadn't happened. So, I mean, we're looking at governments just don't have the ability to look forward to the kind of distances that should happen most of the time. And then, of course, if you look at businesses themselves, they're usually thinking monthly or quarterly or maybe yearly if they're really, really forward thinking. So you're looking at companies that are never really looking past a tiny little time horizon. And what Elon Musk's superpower, I really think this is that he's able to not only envision a future. I mean, we've had science fiction writers talking about electric vehicles and AI robots and all of that kind of stuff since the early part of the 20th century. So the vision can certainly be there, but the focus, the almost obscene level of focus to make these multi-decade types of visions come to pass is really remarkable with Elon Musk. And hopefully in the next couple of weeks, we are going to see Starship launch on its first almost orbital launch. And that is more evidence of Elon Musk's vision. So it's not just with Tesla, but starting SpaceX with the goal of actually going to Mars in a private company is absolutely insane as well. And again, that ability to focus for decades and decades is just an amazing ability that Elon Musk has. And as a weird aside, just as I was about to sit down and start filming this video, Elon Musk responded to something SpaceX and Elon Musk looking at Falcon 1 debris. The image reminds us never to give up. And Elon Musk says some duct tape and super glue will fix this right up, haha. But you can see Elon Musk over on the left over here focusing on a pile of garbage, basically trying to figure out what went wrong with their Falcon 1 and to figure out how they were going to launch this thing before the company went bankrupt. So again, this vision and this tenacity is just remarkable. We're looking at probably 2008 from this picture. It doesn't say exactly when, but we're probably looking at that time frame. And this would be the same time period where Tesla was about to go belly up and SpaceX was about to go belly up and Elon Musk was about to become a very, very impoverished person because he had put everything in here. So again, that's that vision, and the willingness to be able to commit everything to that vision is a really remarkable and unique feature of Elon Musk. And that brings us to Master Plan Part 3, which I think a lot of people in the media have kind of ignored because it seems so outrageous. But here's the thing. In 2006/2008, launching reusable rockets into space and having private companies refueling the space station and building the largest rocket ever and possibly going to Mars very soon, and also building relatively mass market electric vehicles that were better than internal combustion engine vehicles on almost every metric, plus creating the charging infrastructure and the battery storage to make all of this kind of stuff possible also seemed really crazy at the time, right? So that was 17 years ago, 15 years ago, depending on what time you're looking at exactly. But let's project a decade and a half into the future and look at this vision. Here we have the main takeaway, right? The super executive version of this is 240 terawatts or 240,000 gigawatts of storage, 30 terawatts of renewable power across the globe, $10 trillion of manufacturing investment, half of the energy required to run the economy the way it is right now, 0.21% of the land area required of the globe to be able to put in wind and solar, 10% of the 2022 world GDP, and zero insurmountable resource challenges. And then, of course, you've got the table of contents that goes into excruciating detail about how exactly this can happen. Now, admittedly, this master plan is not just Tesla doing this, right? Master plans part 1 and 2 were Tesla only focused. This clearly needs more than just Tesla. They can't produce all of this stuff themselves. But this sort of outrageous vision is something that if Elon Musk can stay, healthy and driven, and the leadership of Tesla and other companies happens, we're looking at a world that could be radically different and radically improved in a decade and a half from where it is right now. And you layer on top of that SpaceX's vision for the next 10 to 15 years of getting to Mars and actually beginning to set up colonies and allow humans to live there, at least on a temporary basis. That also is going to be world changing. And then on top of that, you can add the advances by the Boring Company and Neuralink, and perhaps a skunkwork AI company that Elon Musk might be setting up under everyone's noses right now because he's not pleased about the direction that OpenAI and other companies are headed in terms of AI. So overall, what we're looking at is the person with the vision of a huge science fiction writer like Frank Herbert or something, the ability to imagine a world that doesn't exist, combined with the technical knowledge of how you could make this happen, and then combined with his superpower, which is his ability to focus to the detriment of everything, including his health and his personal life at many times in his career, on making this a reality over not just years, but decades. And that really is what makes Elon Musk almost unique in the history of the world. And as he says, long-term thinking will be rewarded. All right, I hope you enjoyed this video and found it fun and interesting and thought-provoking. If you did, please do like it so other people can find it. And of course, consider subscribing for more of this kind of content. As always, a huge shout out to my patrons on Patreon and my YouTube channel members. Thank you all so much for your support. And of course, if you want to join the team, just check out the link in the description. And if you're interested in a whole bunch of really cool merch, check out our merch store. Link is in the description. We have Tesla Bot t-shirts, the Tesla meme t-shirt, success is a possible outcome, 4680 battery cells. All of that stuff is on t-shirts, mugs, tumblers, and on and on. So check it out. And finally, don't forget we are both Tesla and Amazon affiliates. If you look in the description, you can see how going shopping for a solar roof, a power wall, or anything on Amazon helps out the channel. In the meantime, I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.